One of my great joys when I first moved to Brighton was I won a trip to Canada. I went to Canada, which was very lucky. This was in 1992, I think, very early days. I'd never been abroad before. Went to Canada, and I had a lovely fling with a skater, with a hockey player in Canada who was beautiful. I mean, I was 20, early 20s, he was the same age. Beautiful. Great big Canadian blonde thing with the most amazing ass and thighs from his hockey playing, from his ice hockey. And he had a pair of rollerblades, which I'd never seen before. They'd just been imported from Italy. Nobody had them. They were designed specifically for hockey players to use in the winter. And I remember lying in the sunshine in Toronto, looking at this monumental thighs, and as he had such a powerful man, a beautiful man, thinking, I want to be like that. I want to be like that. So he kind of let me use his skates, and I was all over the place. And I came back to Italy, and I saved up really hard, and I bought myself a pair of skates that were £500 in the early 90s, which is probably a couple of £1,000 today. It was a very big investment. I had them imported specially, and they were amazing. I couldn't skate. I would go down the marina at night, where there's a big empty car park, and skate in the dark through the winter. And I fell, and I fell, and I fell, and eventually I learned to skate, and I struggled because I really wanted to. I think for me it was about when you're young and queer, sport is closed off from you. Skating allowed me to be very strong and as camp as I wanted to. I could be exquisitely elegant. There's a place, I've skated now for 30 odd years, and I still skate. I still skate regularly, and I'm still really camp with it, and I love it because it allows me, twirling and spinning and leaping and jumping. It allows me to be completely myself. Of course, now I'm a 55-year-old homo on my skates. I'm still very powerful, but I'm still really camp. And it's really interesting when you talk to with younger skaters, we're still a little bit macho sometimes, and they'll do scraping and jumping, and I'll just do a great big leap, and a little twirl, and I like it because it's about that's the essence of me, the skating thing. But the first time I went out skating on my own, so I'd been down the marina, shamefully skating in the dark for months and months and months and months throughout the winter, and the wind dropped, and I skated down to Hove, first time in the day, and I was mortified. Everyone was looking at me, and I was the only person on skates. I was grown. Skating was for kids in those days. Nobody else had them. I got down to Hove, and a fret came in. It must have been April. Fret, one of those cold, damp fogs, and it closed over Hove Promenade, and I was skating round in circles thinking, is this really what I want? And I feel a bit of a fool. Kind of self-insecurities and silliness. I don't know where it was coming from. It was about the way people were looking at me. Anyway, and then through the fog came this noise. And this old boy in his 70s came past on aluminium skates that kind of expanded, in a suit, the lit-up bow tie. A perfect Brighton moment, and I was sitting on a Hove Promenade on one of those green benches, and I skated towards him, and he introduced himself, and he is an ex-Albion player. He's been dead a long time now. His wife had died. He was a Christian. When his wife died, he decided to keep himself fit by skating. And I met him for an hour or so. We talked, and he showed me a bit about how to turn in a circle on his skates. And I suddenly thought, if he, as an ex-footballing heterosexual Christian, can do it in a suit and bow tie, I'm sure as damn I can. And he, the least likely person, gave me the strength to become the skating I had. I met him a couple of times since, well, before he passed on, and always had a really good skate with him, but I remember that moment, the unlikeliness of Brighton, and how people you don't think have got anything to give you some of the things. Yeah, and my skating throughout the years has given me health. I've met most of my partners through skating. So I think the skating's been, for me, a real space where I've been allowed to be purely myself in a physical way, which isn't very possible in a lot of spaces, and free to explore in a way that's not, I'm not connected to the ground, not pedestrian in a very literal way. I glide, and I've skated naked across the Golden Gate Bridge and in full drag through Paris. I've had extraordinary experiences because of my wheels. But I remember him and that afternoon in the fog as being a moment when Brighton transformed me and again said, actually, if you want to be that, you can be that. It's only you that stops yourself. Yeah. And I still, when I skate down in Hove, I wonder, what became of him? Hopefully went to heaven and found his wife, because that was what he wanted. But yeah, it was very sweet.